Welcome to Leadership Labs. I'm Louise and Maurice, leadership mentor and creator of the Academy for Holistic Leadership. In Lab 1, you learn a real-world case study that reflects a challenge leaders face every day. To protect privacy, the case study is reenacted using an AI avatar based on a real-world leadership scenario. This lab is grounded in my 35 plus years of lived leadership experience and is designed to help you develop the human-centered leadership and coaching skills needed to thrive in a fast-changing, tech-driven world. All the resources I mention in this professional training are free and linked in the description below. Let's get started. In this entire section, right, you're looking under course content, you see all of the section. We're going to focus on session number 3 of the Get Results Confidence Coaching Program. We always begin by understanding what we're going to learn and why it's important to focus on the people, the physiology, the process, procedures, phrasing, performance. Because that's what makes up a coaching session. And obviously, as you continue on with this course, I'll be sharing with you pricing, promotion, your professional development, as well as personal development. But this is where the coaching session really is about people. You're an important person, but your client is an important person as well. And in session number 1 and session number 2, you understand about your inner world. You understand about the experiences and how they play out in your mind and how your imagination can run wild. Well, as we continue on, we'll learn more about the people, yes, but the physiology as well as the neuro-linguistic programming procedure and the process. But your sample client, as we continue on with this lecture, you're going to meet our next sample client. Remember, you have been hired by a company, and this company wants you to go in and work with each of the team members who are struggling to get results. They're struggling. And post-pandemic, companies really need to trim the excess, the people that are not performing. So it definitely puts people in a situation where they're just not feeling confident anymore. You as a Get Results, a confidence coach, have been hired. You go in there and you're a third party. So people are opening up to you fairly well. Some might be a little apprehensive, but this client, she's opening up, and I want you to key in on what she values. When you're listening to the language that she's using, what does she value? Now, values are just what's important to people, right? What's important to them. And values are definitely given to people from when they were very young, yes, but they've also had an opportunity to adjust and make those changes as they've moved along in their life. But key in, what is important to her? What does she value? And then in the lecture after, we'll come back and we'll see if we're on the same page. Let's continue.
I'm probably most comfortable in the office when I feel like I have my own space. When I know this is my corner, my desk, my place. That's when I can breathe. But here's the strange part. I also feel comfortable when I'm complaining. Because when I'm complaining, people pay attention. They notice me. They hear my voice. And for a moment, it feels like I matter. It feels like I'm important. Like I finally exist in the room. So yes, complaining works for me. It gives me that sense of being seen. It makes me feel like I'm not invisible anymore. And maybe that's what I value most right now. Being noticed. Being heard. Feeling like I matter.
In that last lecture, you had an opportunity to listen to our sample client and give you a basis of, is she confident or is she not confident? And what did you determine? Yeah, she is definitely not confident because a confident person does not complain and does not use complaining to get their needs met. And this is an opportunity for you to be able to just be that observer. When you are coaching clients, it's not about judging, it's about observing. Because if you are going to guide them to be confident, then you have to be able to understand what happened. Should you care? And what are you going to be able to really help them see and become aware of? Because I asked you before you started listening to her, from what she's saying, what does she value? What does she value? What's important to her? Well, she's complaining to get her needs met, and she needs that attention. She needs to feel like she's important, and she needs to hear that her voice is heard. But she's doing it in a negative way or in a way that's not going to support her success moving forward. And again, the example that we're giving you is that you've been hired by a company to go in there and coach the team members to be confident. And if she is silently sabotaging herself in a way that doesn't support her or move her forward, then it's your role as a coach to move her beyond that. And that's where in the next lecture, I want to help you to understand a bit more about the physiology, because the problem will keep compounding itself regardless of where this person is and what this person is doing, because it's a learned behavior. Complaining is a learned behavior, and it's a way that when they were very, very young, it got their needs met. It got them attention. And again, in session number 1, we learned about how that inner world is formed. All right, let us continue on. In the next lecture, we'll talk about the physiology as well as the neuro-linguistic programming procedure that we are going to use. Let's continue. Let's talk about physiology as well as the procedure. Now, physiology insight, just keeping it very, very simple, but you've probably heard about survival of the fittest. Survival of the fittest. And it's all about survival, the brain, the central nervous system, how everything is connected and linked up. And the memories are kept in there. Oh, do this, do that. And that's where with our sample client, complaining gets her needs met. She wants to be heard. And understanding that there is a different way, that's where the anchoring procedure comes in. But getting back to the survival techniques, just looking at this example here, pandemic survival tips. Stay safe, stay connected, stay hopeful. And that is where the neurochemicals come in, because we are hardwired to do what's pleasurable, to feel connected. And there's a bunch of neurochemicals that get released in the brain, and one of them is oxytocin. And oxytocin, when you're connected and you're feeling like people are rallying around you, that's just that flood. It just floods the brain and it just feels very, very good in the body. And that's where when you hug people, it's that same feeling and just the love and the bonding that takes place between a parent and a child. So oxytocin is definitely important for survival, because very early on, our ancestors, that's how they survived. When they belonged to a tribe, there is safety in numbers. We hear all of these sayings, and that's exactly where they came from. Our client, that's what she's doing. The complaining really gets her attention, the oxytocin. She just feels important and the values, and it's all linked together. Well, with anchoring, with the neuro-linguistic programming procedure, the technique anchoring, it's about anchoring in different states for her so that she feels the oxytocin and that good feeling, but it's connected with more positive experiences or behaviors that are more positive, behaviors that showcase her as a confident person, that she doesn't have to do any of these behind the scenes thing or things that bring the whole team down, that complaining that brings the rest of the team down. That is definitely something that we don't want to have happen. When we are coaching clients, we want to move them beyond to a better state. And that is just very simple. Anchoring can be done in so many different ways. And as we continue on, I'm going to share with you an online resource that is going to help your clients to definitely anchor in many different ways. Let's continue. Thank you for completing this Confidence Coaching Leadership Lab. Every skill you practice here strengthens your ability to lead with clarity, confidence, and grounded presence in real-world situations. If you'd like to continue developing your human-centered leadership and coaching skills, you'll find additional resources, leadership labs, and professional training. Links in the description below. I appreciate you being here and investing in your growth as a leader.